Okay. You know, I'd like to start with you guys at the basic level of the client first, because I didn't have time in my remarks to talk about the environment for retail and the global economy. And could you just give us some ideas about what kind of mood your retailer's in, what kind of things they're thinking about, what do they see as opportunities, what are they concerned about in the near-term future, and that sort of thing? Could you just give us a feel for that? Because then we'll go from there into talking about numbers with rent and absorption and stuff like that. I think it'd be helpful just to hear what the people that are actually buying the space and using it, what are they going through right now?
You know, consistently we're hearing from our clients and other retailers that we're doing business with that Houston is, if not the top performer in the country, is one of the top 2 or 3 markets in the country for retail. And the feedback is very, very positive. We have access to some of those sales, and it's good. I mean, in every category, from consumer electronics to coffee to sandwiches to office supply, consistently the people that we're interacting with, the feedback is positive. Unfortunately, for the rest of the country, you're looking at same-store sales and double-digit differences. I mean, down in double digits in most markets around the country.
I think, speaking for myself, I'm mostly dealing with more local than national. We have many national tenants that we have in our projects and that we work with on a day-to-day, but there seems to be a pretty good distinction between the two. There's no secret, it's tough out there. And right now, people, as you've heard pretty much across the board, people are on hold. They're in a waiting pattern, waiting to see what to do tomorrow and the day after. I think the national tenants are probably stirring up the greatest concern out there. Certainly Houston is faring up the best. If it's going to be bad, if you want to be in the best place you can be, welcome to Houston. But it's affecting us as much as other places throughout the country. National tenants are kind of starting things up, renegotiating rents, bankruptcies, not expanding, declining. I've really been talking to a lot of locals, and I'm hearing some really good, optimistic things from some of the local tenant communities, mom and pops who've now been out for 2-3 years. As things decline for some of the chains, the smaller guy being able to upgrade, finally do a second or third store expansion. But anyway, it's tough, and I'm amazed at how much renegotiating existing deals, existing leases we're experiencing. Some cases we don't even have time for a new lease, dealing with a tenant who says he's got to have something renegotiated or redone by the end of the month before his next pay period. Anyway, I am an optimist, and I'm hoping we have the bottoms, that it's going to flatten out, and we can catch a breath and get back to business.
Okay. Well, on that side of things, are retailers having the same kind of financial challenges about rolling their debt and that sort of thing, or where they just are coming up against brick walls? Well, let me even get more specific. I had heard, say, about 6 months ago that January and February would probably be the peak time for difficulty for retailers, because they tend to go to the market and buy their stuff in July or August. It gets shipped to them in September and October. They put it out on the shelves and sell it in November and December, and then they have to pay for it in January and February. And that if there was going to be kind of a stress point for retail, it would probably be in the first quarter of 2009. Does that make any sense at all, or is that not correct? And if it isn't, help me educate us about it.
Well, there's a lot of truth to that. Most retailers, let's call it what it is. Christmas, from Thanksgiving to Christmas, certainly is probably the most critical period of time for a retailer. It's no secret this was one of the most dismal holiday seasons we've seen in the past 15, 20 years. But when you're asking about, at least from my point of view in retail real estate, talking about debt, access to money, capital, I don't know if retail might be a little different from some of the other classes of real estate, but when it comes to retail, I think either these guys are making money, they're selling product, or they're not. And whether they get money to buy more product to make their 4 or 5 turns in their stores per year, if the consumer isn't consuming, they're not selling, and if they're not selling, they can't pay rent. If they can't pay rent, they're not going to stay. And right now, I think they're struggling to figure out, when is the consumer coming back into the store. And Mark, quite frankly, your opening, speech about what the individual is doing. The mom, God bless you moms out there. Y'all are our best, retailer's best friend. Biggest time spending is from birth, I think, till about 7th, 8th grade. That's really what we're watching. I think the capital market might be secondary.
One of the things, if you've read the paper this morning or if you've looked at the internet since you've been in here, you've noticed that retail sales for January, I think, is up 1%. It's the best news that we've heard probably in the last 6 months. Retail sales are actually up 1%. It'd be interesting to know how they came up with those numbers, but it's up 1%. And just to clarify on the first point, retailers, very, very few of the retailers that we work with, and it's been our goal for a long time to try to represent a retailer in every retail category. There are very, very few of the retailers we represent that are actually doing deals. And just to clarify, again, what I was saying earlier, we have fewer tours, we have fewer retailers asking for market studies and analysis from us right now. The few retailers that are opportunistic and are trying to take care of market conditions are the same ones that realize that, look, I'm going to have to bite the bullet for the next 2 to 3 years with the understanding that with my primary term and the option rents that I have in place, I'm going to be hopefully 20 or 30 or 40% below my competitors. As it relates to the total overhead, 20 or 30% below the rest of my competitors in this market. But I wanted to say, for most retailers, I am being positive about Houston because Houston again is 1, 2, or 3 for most retailers. But for most retailers, it's not so much how much money you're making; it's just how little money are you actually losing. I think that's really probably the best measure as it relates to retail right now.
How would you guys characterize the rental market? Let's talk about the good side first. Talk about how good it got over the last 4 or 5 years, and now where are we at in that cycle? Has it gone flat, or are we seeing some decline? And what might you expect to see over the next 12 months?
Where we've seen probably the most softening in rents has probably been in the anchor space. And anchors for us, I guess it depends on how you define anchor, but it's typically 15,000 square feet or better. We've definitely seen the most softening in that area, probably less softening in the spec space, which for us, for our office, as we look at things, leads us to believe that we're not anywhere close to the bottom. Kenneth, my partner, and I spent Monday and Tuesday of this week with 34 brokers in Denver, Colorado from 34 major markets talking about what's happening. And the range of softening that we heard, at least from their productivity or their revenue generating ability, is somewhere between 50 and 90%. I mentioned, go back to the last point as it relates to the retailers right now. We're seeing build-up construction right now. What few deals we can get done, we're seeing build-up construction that's going to be delivered this year or next. It's literally 50% of the rent that we've been making deals at for the last 5 and 6 years. 50%, and that's a net number, but it's pretty amazing. So that's I guess as it relates to rents, we've definitely seen a softening, but I would say we've seen more softening in the anchor rents than we have probably in spec rents.
Let me just clarify before you go on. So when I drive by some center that's brand new, still got some cranes and some trucks out there finishing up, getting ready to open up, did you just say that some of those might be operating on rent levels that are 50% of what they were a couple of years ago?
No, I think probably, again, you've heard from the apartment guys, you've heard it from the industrial guys and the office guys. The queue or the lead time on these deals is very, very long, 2 and 3 years.